Welcome you all for today's lecture. Today we are going to see RMS and EDF scheduling. So under priority driven preemptive scheduling, we have the task should be periodic, no aperiodic or sporadic task. The job and deadline should be equal to the end of period. No resources constraints and tasks are preemptible. So these are all the constraints what we have to consider while we are talking about the priority driven preemptive scheduling. In addition with that, the slack of a task is considered as Ti is equal to Di minus T plus Ci dash, where Di is the deadline, T is the current time and Ci dash is the remaining computation time. So let's see more detail about rate monotonic scheduling, that is shortly known as RMS scheduling. The schedulability check will be here as in offline, a set of n tasks. So what is a task? Task is a set of job which is to be performed. A set of n tasks is schedulable on a uniprocessor by the RMS algorithm only if the processor utilization will satisfy the following condition. That is, the summation I is equal to 1 to n Ci by Pi less than or equal to n of 2 power 1 by n minus 1, where Ci is the execution time and Pi is the period. So what is execution time? The time required to execute a simple function is called execution time. The term n of 2 power 1 by n minus 1, which will be approaches to the natural logarithm 2 value. So this condition actually sufficient, but it is not necessary while we are talking about rate monotonic scheduling. So in this schedule construction, the task with the smallest period is assigned the highest priority. At any time, the highest priority task is getting executed. So if you are taking this example, the task set T1 is equal to Ci comma Pi, where Ci is the computation time and Pi is the period. If we are taking T1 and T2 as the two tasks which is having the computation and period 2 comma 4 and 1 comma 8 respectively for T1 and T2. So if you are taking the active task T1 and T2, so based on the computation time which is having the lowest computation time will give the highest priority. So here T2 will be active first and then active task will continue based on the priority by what we are seeing in this diagram. The same like this, if you are seeing this one more example, the task set T1 is equal to Ci comma Pi. Here they are giving T1 as 2 comma 4 and T2 as 4 comma 8, and if you are taking the active task T1 comma T2, the scheduling will be handled like this. So that's all about the RMS scheduling algorithm. So it just gives the highest priority for the smallest computation time. So next, when we are talking about the earliest deadline first, here a set of n task is schedulable on a uniprocessor by the EDF algorithm if the processor utilization satisfy summation I is equal to 1 to n Ci by Pi is less than or equal to 1. Actually, this condition is both necessary and sufficient, and the least laxity first algorithm, it's also same schedulability, it's also have the same schedulability check. So when we talk about the EDF and LLF, the EDF and LLF, here the task with the smallest deadline is assigned the highest priority. So if any task is having the smallest deadline, that will be considered as highest priority. At any time the highest priority task will get executed, and it is very optimal whenever there is a feasible schedule. The EDF can always compute it when preemption is allowed and no resource constraint is considered here. If you have any two tasks in a feasible schedule, if they are not scheduled in the order of earliest deadline, then we can always swap them and still it will generate the feasible schedule. So by conclusion we can say EDF means earliest deadline first. Actually, whichever is having the smallest deadline, that will be given the highest priority in EDF. So thank you. If you take the comparison between the RMS and EDF, in this diagram we can see very clearly how the RMS schedule and EDF schedule is scheduled. In RMS we are not considered about the deadline, but in EDF we are considered about the deadline. So based on the deadline, the priority will be scheduled and the entire task will be performed. Thank you.